Hey,
The intro, boy. Hang on one sec. Come on, Kenny, you gotta put some hands up.
hands up, hey. Hey, hey. Oh, you got it going I'm in my backyard hanging out.
Put them up.
Hey.
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 Showtime, baby. What's going on, boy?
What's happening, man? Back in my backyard hanging out. And I was like, this is a great way for me to have the conversation with you because we're still in quarantine.
Right.
But it feels different being back here because I can kind of move around and talk to you. And what's up, everybody? I see you. I see you. Love to you.
Love you, Kenny. We love you,
man.
Lattimore.
Love
Congratulations,
to you guys.
Kenny, to you and Faith.
My friends. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, who is that? Mercer Power. Kenny, you on time. It's on time, Kenny. It's showtime. Hey, Kathy B. Look at everybody showing up for Kenny Lattimore. What's up, Kenny?
I see Miss Lady. Oh, this is so cool. Stantasha. Oh, my gosh.
That's right. Get them hearts up for Kenny Lattimore. If you love Kenny Lattimore,
y'all.
Get them hearts flowing. Get them hearts up.
Blessings, y'all. Hey, what's up, my friend?
Shout him out, man. Shout him out.
What's
going on, Kenny? What's up with you, man?
Oh, love to you. Oh, my God. Kathy, Melissa, my brother, Eric McDonald. Yeah, I see y'all. Gosh, it's so good to always talk to you too, Cayman, because
absolutely, man.
You know, you got to have your tribe in time. You know, in whatever time and whatever's going on, you got to always have your tribe. So I hope that in quarantine, you guys have found your tribe and stuck close because this has been a really interesting time. But this is like how we've talked a couple times.
Oh, yeah, we talk all the time, man. That's why I was telling you the other day. I said, man, let's save some of this conversation so it's organic. It feels funny repeating the same things over and over again.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
For those who don't know, Kenny is genuinely my friend. This is somebody that he's been to my house, and you don't let everybody in my house. You don't know. You don't let people.
We've been to church. We've been with the families. We've been, it's all that,
Right. I've
on
been
both
to church
coasts,
and
LA and DC, where we're from, all of that. So,
absolutely.
yeah, we're gonna tell Faith hello too. Hopefully, she'll be able to check in soon too. But absolutely, Faith says hello to everybody. She has been an amazing rock during this time period for me, and she's been helping me keep up with all these messages and all that. Because I'm okay on social media, but I think she's so much. There she is. She said, "Hey,
what's up, Faith?" You're checking her man out, making sure you're in the backyard where you're supposed to be.
I call her my producer because she's gonna make sure that I'm in excellence, that I'm right. So
right.
I love that. I love it.
That's beautiful.
She's not gonna let me look crazy up in here. She's gonna be like, hold up.
That's right. Let's make this official. So how you been, man? I know we talk all the time, but just for the sake of those who are viewing right now, how have you been? Newlywed. You've been married for a couple months now. How are things?
Yeah. On the newlywed side, it has been absolutely phenomenal. It's the greatest thing to find a partner to do life with, doing life with somebody you love and who loves you and supports you and you support them. There's a power to that. When people start talking about power couples, it's not always about just the money that I'm bringing or anything like that. It's so much deeper is the actual support, the life that we live behind the scenes is the real thing, the real valued part of the relationship that propels us wherever we want to go, wherever we want to dream. It's great to have somebody to dream with too.
Absolutely. And it's nothing like having that support of somebody who actually supports you, and lives those dreams out with you, man. It's that much better.
Because for years, I mean, I think both of us have had amazing careers, and we
Mm-hmm.
have traveled the world. And I used to say all the time, I've been so many places, and romantic places, just places, having moments where you just go, gosh, I'm here by myself and this thing is happening. Thank God for these phones and stuff now, because I remember when we
Yeah.
didn't have phones to even capture the moments like we
Right,
do
right.
now. But not having that, it's something about even having a person to share that moment. I was talking to another buddy of mine this week about 1998, 1997, and stuff we had done at Columbia Records. And it
Yeah.
was funny because sometimes you forget, or you start going, did that really happen like that? You know, I'm not really sure. And I got on the phone with him and he was like, yeah, bro, that actually happened. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, I needed to just like reminisce and go through that. So Faith and I will have these kind of moments like years from now. We'll be able to say, babe, didn't this happen? Yeah. Oh my God. You know, we've been telling the grandchildren these stories together, you know.
Right, right. That's when you be looking at them pictures in your
You've been
phone.
looking at the pictures, yeah,
Reminiscing.
yeah.
You know what? Speaking of things in the past, and by the way, let me do this real quick, Kenny. For
Sure.
those who are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Cayman Kelly, because I know a lot of your audience may not know who I am.
Okay.
Please follow me at Cayman Kelly. I got a lot of my friends coming on, and you know, we're doing this for everybody, you know, so we get in this space where we can connect together. And I love this interaction because, you know,
Yeah.
I ain't embraced this thing originally, man, but I'm really
Right.
having a lot of fun on here. So make sure
And
you
you
follow
heard
me
Cayman
at
Kelly's
Cayman
voice
Kelly.
because he's also on Heart and Soul Radio on Sirius XM
There you
radio.
go. Sell it, Kenny. Sell it,
So
Kenny.
you know that's the thing, because I know they've heard your voice and all that, because man, Sirius XM has promoted my music tremendously, and so appreciated. Even though this is his personal format, you've heard his voice there, and then probably all over commercials and other kind of stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
And on
To hear
TV,
your voice.
with
Yeah,
Faith Jenkins is on Bounce TV, all that good stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, enough about me, enough about me. Let's talk about something that just transpired a week ago today.
Mm-hmm.
This big news with The Last Dance, because I was sitting on the couch and I was actually watching this thing. Matter of fact, I was laying on the couch, and when the headphones came up and he said, Kenny Lattimore, I sat up like that. I said, did he really just say Kenny Lattimore? So,
what did you think he was listening to?
This was going to happen, but you didn't know.
Let's think about that clip for a minute. What did you think he was listening to when you when you were looking at it?
You know what? Honestly, I had no idea, but
No
I know
idea.
people associate hip hop with the NBA. So
Right. Oh, and
Roger
that's
would
such a
never thought
powerful
it was
thing.
Kenny Lattimore.
Yeah, and we love that. And hip hop music brings a totally different energy to the
Yeah.
NBA and to the platform. But what was really amazing about it was the fact that it was not about the NBA. It wasn't about anything but this man's personal experience and whatever motivated him in that moment. Let me take you back though and try to give it some backstory, because one, I did know that you know they were going to play it because they had to license the song for me because I wrote the song.
Right.
And I got to give credit to Vidal Davis, who is a huge producer out of Philly. If you don't know him by name, he has done huge hits for Jill Scott and for Sierra and just, you know, tons of people. And also Tim Motzer, who's another friend of ours who played guitar and added all these effects to it. We got together to do Days Like This for From the Soul of Man CD. It was my first single. And I wanted to do something completely different musically that had never been done before. In London, there was something called Speed Garage going on, which was a sound that was real percussive and everything. And I was trying to marry that with what was happening in R&B music. So that's the whole backstory with the song. But the Michael Jordan backstory is he was a fan from the beginning of my career. As a matter of fact, when he had the cologne out, I don't know if y'all remember. You remember that? The Michael Jordan? The square bottle.
Yeah.
So when the cologne came out, I got a call because, you know, a lot of times you don't know people and you get a call from the industry executive or what have you. And they wanted to use the song Never Too Busy in his commercial. So what we did was, you know, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, this is great, because it was at a time where Never Too Busy could have used a huge boost just of exposure. And I didn't write Never Too Busy though. So having not written Never Too Busy, I didn't have control over that song. And the publishers could not come to an agreement to use the song. I think it had to do with money. So a lot of times we think Michael Jordan, we just think money, cha-ching, you know. So I think they got into a dispute over, you know, over that. I didn't have anything to do with that. But as a young artist, I was really, really disappointed because I was like, man, this could have been like really amazing. But because he truly was a fan, I did get a call sometime later to come and meet him and sing for a function he had in New York. And we went from there, and he called me back for other stuff in Chicago, in Vegas. I would just, you know, I'd come back and get a chance to hang and see him. And it was surreal, but at the same time, I was kind of all over the world. I was traveling the world with some of the other huge celebrities and all of that. And I think I got into this whole thing where I respected their privacy as much as possible. Okay. So I never talked about it. Never talked about it. I never went on interviews talking about, oh, this is what I did last week and this one. You know, and social media was not what it is today either.
Of course not, right. And no internet, really. You know, internet was just really starting to pop off. It was
just starting in like 98.
Yeah.
Yep. As a matter of fact, my website started with From the Soul of Man.
Wow, that's so crazy, man. You just think about how things change, but Michael was bragging on you, though. He was like, yeah, I know him. He sent it to me.
Oh, that's so incredible, right?
But he was bragging about knowing you.
I love it. I love it.
Them songs, I mean, Kenny, you can't deny it. You probably would never say it just out of your modesty, but you are a singing dude, man. Your voice is incredible,
so
man.
Much. Thank you. Thank you. I love this thing. You know, a lot of I'll sing something back in the backyard. Okay, I'll figure out something to sing in the backyard. But you know what I feel like? I still love this game. It's been really like 30 years of being a professional singer for me. You guys didn't know me for that time period because it wasn't all hits for 30 years. But, you know, in 96, when I first came out, of course, as a solo artist, everything changed for me. But I was in the industry prior to that, recording and all that, and have gone through enough to be jaded, to be someone that just feels like, let me just sit down and not be a part of this industry because enough has happened. Yeah. But I think, you know, today, as I'm looking out here, I'm just looking around, and y'all see what I see. Just being outside like this makes me think of God.
Yes.
Purpose, and it makes me have another level of faith.
Yes.
That anything is possible. Anything is possible, and I don't have to be jaded about a career. I can just continue to celebrate a gift, because for as long as God allows me to sing, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
So,
you know, Kenny, that reminds me of a conversation that we had years ago. Mm-hmm. And I told you, know, during your frustration period, and I told you, I said, Kenny, there's no way in the world that God blessed you with this gift. You know, you can't deny that it's a gift that's supposed to be shared with the world. You know, even when you go through those frustrations, you still have a purpose in what you're supposed to be doing with that gift that God blessed you with.
Oh, man.
You know, I mean, bottom line is we can never determine what our reward is going to be.
Yeah.
That's not for us to determine, you know?
Yeah, I do appreciate that, those words, because it is so true. I was listening to something today that was so powerful. Goodness, this is so powerful, but I have to share it because, okay, today's Sunday.
Yeah.
Where even though we're not at churches, I was listening to, and I'm gonna give this person props because it's somebody I've been listening to, but Pastor Albert out of Monrovia Fellowship. If you've ever heard of Monrovia Fellowship, if you haven't heard it, go online and check it out, because this man teaches in the style of another pastor, Bishop Kenneth Ulmer, who that was my first pastor that I was under when I came out to California. But he was talking about grief, and he was talking about sadness. And the reason why I'm sharing this is not because I want anybody to be sad, but because we go through sadness, we go through so many different things. There were so many in 20 some odd years. I went through so many roller coaster rides in my life and career. And he was talking about sometimes when you go through a transition, say you've lost someone or you've lost an opportunity that you thought. He said sometimes you have to sit in the sadness first. First, you have to just sit in it, because it's a reality that you're sad, and it's a real emotion. He was preaching out of the book of Job, because a lot of times we want to just be, all right, well, that's not going to get me down. It's not going to get me down. And that's okay. We understand that. But sadness is a real part of life, and grief is a real part of life. And as we're transitioning with this quarantine and COVID-19 and all, there's a lot of things that we've gone through that we have to stop for a minute and take in. But the second thing we have to do is invite other people that love us into it, because we can't go through this thing alone. So when you invite people in with you and they sit with you, and all their job is to sit. It's not to fix it, because you're acknowledging it. But this is what I thought was really powerful. He said the situation is worthy of us to sit. Now, I was like, oh my God, the situation is worthy of. I lost my mother years ago.
Yeah.
And if I have a moment tomorrow where I break down, my mother is worthy.
Yes.
Me breaking down in that moment, because her impact on my life was so incredible and so amazing. But the third thing that he said, which, I mean, this is so fresh on my mind, was to then invite God into it. Because if we invite God into it, we know that he's taking us through a season and not a destination. Life, what's the cliche? Life is not a destination, it's a journey. That's what we call it.
Right.
Because as long as I have breath in my body, as long as you have breath in your body, there's something else on the other side. There's something else. So what happens is, he gave this analogy about the Dead Sea, which is one of the lowest places in the world, physically. And how when you get down to the lowest place in the world, the Dead Sea, the waters and stuff are so salty that when you get in them, you float.
Yes, Lord.
And if you can get that picture, this just like blessed me so much this morning, that we can move right on through and continue our journey, because we haven't arrived. We never do. Not here. This isn't our home. If you believe in faith, you know, it's like, hey, that we move on past this. But I just want to say that, because I know that people are dealing with depression, and they're dealing with what is going to happen. We're so close to the countries opening up, and the states opening up, and all of that. We're so close to it. What's going to happen to me? And it's okay to stop for a moment. It's okay to stop in that moment and let it sit in here, that's how you feel, because it's valid, it's worthy. People that have built businesses, and all of a sudden your business, you don't know it's worthy to stop and be like, wow, I built that business, but is it going to still go on? But let me tell you, like Faith and I did a while ago, we were talking about Miles Monroe.
Yes.
Job may change, all the circumstances around you may change, but your gift is still there.
Amen.
Somebody said, this world is not my home. Amen. I'm just passing through. That's right.
That message just went full circle. Full circle about what we just started with. Back to one.
Now, I want to relate this again to The Last Dance. 1998. It was 22 years ago.
Come on, brother. 22 years ago.
That was 22 years ago. Do you know how many emotions and ups and downs I've gone through in 22 years?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, this moment happens that only God could have designed for whatever reason. I don't believe it was just a Kenny moment. Partly, I think it's a celebration of R&B music. I think it was because we have been devalued in the R&B platform and in that genre for so long.
Yes.
And it was a cool way to just celebrate it. It was like, oh man, you have R&B music, and get the conversation going and getting people listening. Because now, all over the world, I'm getting messages from people who are talking about, I'm listening to Kenny Lattimore, from dudes in Russia.
Right.
In
I
Italy,
just saw somebody on from Italy. I saw somebody. Hold on, Kenny. Let me give you a round of applause, man. Let me just give you a round of applause. I wanted to do that, and I see Vanessa Williams in the room too.
Vanessa,
thank you for joining, Vanessa. We want to get you on too, Vanessa. We need you so we can have a conversation. Yeah, man, this is beautiful, Kenny. I gotta ask you to do something, man. I gotta ask you to do something for me. You know, in that moment that just transpired, we never know which direction these conversations are going to go in. But something that I experienced years ago, and we've talked about this when Lattimore was in the studio with me, and she sang that song. We was all in there crying, and I asked you to come up and you sang "Great Is Thy Faithfulness." Can you do that for me, man? Can you do that for me? I think everybody would enjoy it.
Let's see here. Great is thy faithfulness unto me, Father. There is no shadow of turning in thee. Thy failest not. Thy compassions, O Lord, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever shall be. Summer and winter, springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above. Join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Oh, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercy I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided, and great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Oh, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercy I see, and all I need, thy hand, Lord Jesus, thy hand has provided, and great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, to me. Yes. I'm trying to be quiet now. But great, that whole, man, that is one of my absolute favorite songs. I laugh about it a lot of times because if I'm in a show and anything goes wrong, like, you know, sound goes wrong, you have that's people, the Teddy Riley moment, you know, and stuff is messing up. That's when I shut everything down and I go up. That means God wants me to worship right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And I sing "Great Is Thy Faithfulness" and just change the atmosphere, you know.
Oh man.
Change the atmosphere.
Kenny, I said he's trying to hold my tears back, brother. Woo.
Oh man. Blessings.
Thank you for doing that for us, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, that's beautiful.
We are ready. We are ready now.
I want to make this interactive for everybody. So if you have
Oh yeah.
questions for Kenny, please feel free
Yeah,
to
come
use
on.
the
I'm just
question
walking around the
box.
backyard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see you started walking. Please put some questions. I think we got a couple in here now. Put your questions in the question box for us, and we can get
Thank you.
through them.
Wow, thank you guys.
You got some
Thank
round
you.
of applause in here, man.
Oh, amen. Amen. Yeah.
Here's a question for you from
Oh,
Omid.
stay on your mind. Wow. How'd you come up with that song? Actually, there's a great producer that I have. His name is Dracar Wesley. Oh, we call him Madison. He is an absolutely amazing. Well, I call him my secret weapon because he produces all of my vocals, and he also is like an A&R ear. An A&R person used to listen to music and find like the best songs and things for you to do back in the day. So he does that for me, and he respects my legacy and all of that. So this is the long answer, right? I'm giving you the long answer since we have all this time together. So actually, he just came to me one day with the song. Actually, no. I'm not telling the full story. There's a record executive named Maurice White out of Chicago.
Oh, yeah, Maurice.
Maurice, yeah. Maurice told me about the song, and he said, yeah. Madison has this song. It's called "Stay on Your Mind," and he was going to submit it to somebody else, actually, one of their other artists. And I was like, "That's a Kenny Lattimore song." Yeah, I was like, "Oh man!" So it was easy for me to get it. I was like, "Wait a minute, yeah." And I took a listen to it, and then I called him up, and I just said, "Oh, I want to sing it." And he was like, "Oh, okay, great." And we just kind of moved on because great creators are always creating material and they're submitting it to people and all of that. Yeah. So that's how it really happened. It was almost a song that was going to go to somebody else, but I heard it from Maurice over at E1, and I said, you know what? I'll save that for my next album. That's what it was really like. It was because I heard that song during the time I did Anatomy of a Love Song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Aaron Lindsay came in and he produced the music and everything to just, make sure that it was really solid for the Vulnerable CD. Yeah. I hope that gives it to you. That's the long answer.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I love hearing the backstories of which song it came from. Here's one for you, Bab Twin 2. What do you dislike about the industry?
About the industry? What I maybe don't like about the recording industry is that it may be, it's probably not even about the industry as a whole. There's a lot of opportunity out, but the industry can't promote everybody.
Yeah.
They just can't. So the industry is not a fair industry. It's a wonderful business to be a part of. A lot of times people used to have big conversations about being independent versus being on a major label. I loved being on a major label. I'm sorry. It was amazing because there was a whole lot of stuff I didn't have to worry about.
Right. You know what? And while you giving that answer, talk about some of the things that are different, because I know they had the budgets and then, you want to stay in 5-star hotels and triple diamonds when they got the budget. But when you got to pay for it, Motel 6 don't look too
bad. True. They had large budgets that were set aside for the marketing and the promotion of us to create platforms. I see somebody asking about virtual concerts and all of that. We're going to get into that conversation too. There were dollars for touring and different expenses. And in addition, there used to be, what is it called? Artist development. Lord, yes. Artist development. So if you didn't know how to give an interview, if you didn't know how to walk in the room and captivate the room or whatever, there were people to work with you there. And I think the concept came from Motown Records, actually, and they would help you to develop and become a great artist. But now one of the things is, we talk about the record companies more as marketing machines, period. What they want is for you to come in and they want you to have it all together for them and then just give them your product. And they just want to expose it a lot of times. That is the era that we are kind of faced with. It's in a transition again because I think there's still some labels that have great teams and great creators. Thank you, Izzy. Money was spent. um,
when there was a
there was a
return.
return on that investment. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you had an artist that if you made a little money or what have you, it was like, oh man, we need to reinvest. We need to continue to build this thing, and it was a different respect also for sometimes it wasn't about your first album. You didn't get one shot.
Right.
See,
Right.
we're in this thing now where it's like, okay, you got one shot to captivate the whole world. When
There it
first
is.
of all, we know that unfortunately hit songs are made, people.
Yeah.
Hit songs are made. The people that are talking about days like this 22 years later, if they had heard it 22 years ago, but if a hit song is made by the machines, a lot of times that promote the music and give it to the people. So when the people get the music, it's one thing if people say that song sucks. We hate this, because that happens
Right.
too.
Right. Right.
But the beauty is the marketing and promotion angle still has a tremendous amount of value. But yes, artist development is needed because it's like a lost art. So, and my heart goes out to these young artists, because I remember when American Idol started to hit.
Yes.
No shade against American Idol. But I was meeting some of the young people that had become famous, but were poor. They were famous now, but they would come to me and they would be like, oh my God, can I sing background for you? Or can I do something? Because now it's like all these people know who I am, but I don't even have a platform to make an album, and I don't even know what to do next. This is where mentoring is like really heavy on my heart. It's always been a big deal for me, mentoring and giving back.
Yeah.
Because I remember being that artist. I remember being the artist that probably had a package out there that just sucked. It just really was not good, as I was growing up. And I needed people to come to me and say, okay, brother, this is, you're doing a little bit of this. You're doing a little bit of that too much. I remember singing and performing the song For You. And it was a hit. All kind of things were great and things were happening.
Yeah.
But there's a guy named Will Moore. I don't know where Will Moore is anymore. But I remember him coming to me and he said, you know what, Kenny, I'm gonna give, it's like, I'm gonna do you a solid for free. I'm going to teach you how to perform for you so that it translates in a different way. So he had me stand in front of the microphone and he said, you're going to sing the song and you're not going to touch this microphone. You're not going to touch it at all. And you're going to sing all around it. He said, you can use your arms. You're going to stand this far apart. You're going to, because a lot of times I think I was standing straight up because it was things I had seen. It's bad habits that I had because I was watching other artists, and sometimes you think you're emulating what other people did and then it's not translating the same way. And you see yourself on videotape and you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that's what I looked like. Or nobody tells you, they just keep going on and on and on. But he stopped me and he said, no, I want you to stand this way, turn that way, and think about what you're saying, which is what I always did. I was I've always been a lyric artist, but I'm being just vulnerable and saying that, in terms of my evolution, the artist that I am now is just not who I was in 1996.
Yeah.
I'm not the same man that I was in 1996.
Right.
Life experience has given me, but all of this is the kind of stuff that you have to have your tribe around you. And that record company became the tribe. They weren't they were business partners. So they were vested just as much as you in your success.
Yeah. But you know what, even still, Kenny, and I tell some of the artists that I come in contact with now, that, even though that record company can be that machine that's behind you, ultimately it's still your business. You're responsible for what you're putting out.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very important, because I told somebody early on, he said, man, you don't know how long ago I wanted to reach out to you. I said, why didn't you? You should have. Yeah. But it's your business.
Yeah. But a lot of times, you know what was also happening. So I'm
sorry. What were you saying?
There was a different approach to artists at that time period where a lot of times they didn't want us to be involved in any business. I remember when From the Soul of Man came out, this is how the thinking was just different back in that time period. because I told these people, I talked to people from back, 20 years ago through the course of the week. All the reminiscing with Last Dance this week has brought me to a point where I'm just like, well, I'm very clear now on some things. There's a marketing executive named James Andrews. Well, he's not a marketing executive now, but he used to be at Columbia, and he was part of the glue between me and Michael Jordan and Worldwide West and tons of people in the industry. Iyanla Van Zant, just different celebrities and folk. Shamar Moore. I don't know if you all remember when Shamar gave me my gold plaque on the Vibe TV show. That goes way, way back. But wow. James was the glue to all of that. And I was talking to him yesterday, and it just reminded me that sometimes you have these other champions that are in your corner that come up with great ideas, but we were before our time.
Yeah.
And I see you about Rochelle Farrell. Yes, I've done work with Rochelle Farrell. James and Colin Gale, who was managing me then too, Colin Gale. We did a book when we were putting out From the Soul of Man, and the book had a foreword by Iyanla Van Zant, and it talked about the meaning of all the songs on From the Soul of Man because it was my lyric album, and it was this great showplace. So what Michael Jordan actually got was a real amazing package. And then I was going to do a book to accompany that album. And I think we were thinking outside of the box, because back in that day, nobody did. They thought we were crazy. And now this is what everybody would be doing,
Right,
exactly. They were like, what? You're going to have a book from the soul of man? I was like, yeah, this needs to be a relationship book and talk about the emotions of men and the things that we don't talk about that maybe we should, and we don't know how to talk about. I was like on a whole different level. But a lot of times the industry comes back and they say, but you're just a singer.
Ooh.
And it changes everything. That's the way it was. It's not that way now.
Yeah, because
that is the way it used to be.
Yeah, but now you got everybody that's taking the initiative to do it themselves anyway.
Exactly.
But
we were so far ahead of it.
Right.
That's just, the only reason why I'm saying that is just to give you an idea of how artists were treated back in that day. It was like we weren't business people. Everybody else around us were business people except us, or they could be business people except us.
Right.
And I'm not saying across the board. Of course, we know that Michael Jackson had some vision, but then they think he was crazy when he went to do Thriller, and the I don't remember the whole story, but I think he went in and negotiated himself like a couple dollars off every album or something like that, because they didn't think he was going to be able to do it,
Right.
So, and the rest is history. And they were just like, because he's such a shrewd businessman, because he was a smart businessman. He went and bought Sony ATV, right?
Come on, bro.
But he was criticized. For owning Sony ATV and the Beatles music and all this, my music, because I'm with Sony ATV as well. But he was criticized instead of him just being celebrated as a great businessman.
That's it, man. You got to
thank you. I hear. I see some of the stuff going by that. So you're waiting for the book. Okay, we're gonna make sure we get the book.
We're gonna make sure we get the book. Things about the book. The gospel album. I've seen a lot of stuff talk about a gospel album. Here's a request for you, Kenny. You see that's on the screen right here?
Okay, it says, please sing Never Too Busy. Okay, let me go back over in my corner over here, see if I can get this. Because it's interesting being outside.
You got one corner in the backyard that you're singing in, bro?
One, I'm trying not to blow my neighborhood up with my neighbors like, what is that going on in the backyard? But then in addition to that, I'm trying to make sure that I have something to bounce the sound off of too, because I want to make sure this sounds okay, and that you all don't walk away from this and go, oh, what? He wasn't all in. But let me see. I've got things on my mind, yeah. I'm not too busy for you. I'm not too busy if you're feeling alone. I'm not too busy for you. I'm not too busy. Girl, when we first started, we were spending all our time together in love. Now we're growing on and you're afraid of losing me. But don't be. I've got so much to do. Oh, see, you know what I'm getting ready to mess up. But when it comes down to you, it's because I can't sing the background and the lead at the same time.
Oh, if it wasn't no,
but every time I'm stressing, I find that it's a blessing to be hearing from you. I've got things on my mind, yeah, but I'm not too busy for you. Okay.
Hey, Kenny, if we.
Okay, now, okay, in celebration of R&B, kudos to Dave Hall and Kipper Jones who wrote that song. I want to give credit where credit is due.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, they said they were singing. Vanessa, you're singing in the background for me. Thank you, man. See, thank you so much.
Hey, bro, that's what I see. Ray said. We had this latency issue. I'd have backed you up, but I'd have been off, so I just left it alone. I'd have hooked it up, bro. You know how we do.
I love it. I love it.
Let me take a couple more questions out the box.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can answer. Give you some long answers.
It's a whole lot
of some depth here.
All right, here's one for you. What song influenced you from childhood?
Oh my goodness. The very first song that I remember singing as a child was the Stylistics' "Stone in Love with You." And you know, I can't remember any of those words. But when I first understood that music could hit me emotionally, wow, it was a song, it was Stevie Wonder. And you probably know that when he did the Mary wants to be a superwoman, but is that really in her head? Will she really get by with a dream? And then when it transitioned into when the winter came, you went further south. Now the winter's gone and you are not around. Where were you when I needed you last winter, my love? Let me tell you, I used to sit there and just cry as a kid listening to that. And I was like, what's happening to me? I mean, I didn't understand. I mean, it was the chords, I guess, and the whole melody. I love is at an end, but you say things have changed. You know, all that that song was, it made me appreciate melodies and the sophistication of music, and it was definitely Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Thank you, V's Venture. She said this is the dopest interview ever.
Oh my God, thank you. Somebody said, did you sing your ABCs? Oh man.
Rock right there.
Yeah, but that didn't quite inspire me. Like, I think my taste was like a little more sophisticated. Oh man. No.
He was way ahead of Baby Talk to Mark. You know what, Kenny? Speaking of Stevie Wonder, we always talk about, you know, how he's our greatest musical hero.
Yes.
Tell the story about Stevie singing that.
Oh wow, definitely. We've been friends for a long time.
But you never told me.
I met Stevie Wonder the first time in South Africa. Yeah, we were in South Africa performing for Nelson Mandela's 80th birthday.
Wow.
That was one of those moments I'll never forget. Never forget it. And I wasn't used to performing now, because a lot of you probably are from the States that are on this particular IG. So, you know, the places I perform in the States, I usually do intimate spaces. You know, I'll do some outdoor gigs and stuff for maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. I mean, the Hollywood Bowl is huge. I mean, but we're talking about back in the day, I was still doing more intimate spaces. And when I got to South Africa, it was a stadium. And I was not used to performing on stadium stages. And my voice was like, I was getting tired. Just the travel alone, and then trying to perform. And then Stevie was there. I got off the plane in South Africa, and I remember him saying, that he wanted to hang out and everything and meet me. And then he gave me this drink, that would help to lubricate my vocal cords and everything. So thank God I was able to get through those shows. Yeah. Just giving you that background that we've been friends since, like, what's that, 97 or something, like 97, 98. So fast forward to now, I was actually doing some other business with Stevie, and we were just chopping it up. And he knew that I was getting ready to get married. And we were talking about the music and everything one day while we were out on the road, and we were doing some songwriting together because he's actually doing some songwriting for my next album.
Oh, wow.
And when I was sitting there, I was like, man, would you consider singing at my wedding? It was one of those kind of conversations where it's like kind of awkward in a way. Oh, but I know what it was. I'm sorry. He asked me something first. He asked me about somebody else that was getting married. He was just talking about somebody getting married, and somebody that was close to him. And I said, well, did you want me to sing or something? Because I sang at Aisha's wedding.
Yeah.
Isn't she lovely?
Isn't she lovely? Come on, brother. Don't even start that. That's my
his family,
right,
they're so wonderful to me. So I sang at her wedding. And so then he said, do you want me to sing at your wedding? And I was like, so then I was like, yeah. But my response was like what I was just getting ready to tell you. My response was almost like, yeah, I that would be pretty amazing. So we kind of went on about our business. And then I went back to him because I was almost like, would you really consider doing that? And he was like, yeah. Now, this is the part that I want you to understand, is that he had a family tragedy the day before with his brother. I believe it's public now. He had a passing of one of his family members. And I didn't think he was going to be able to make it. But in true friendship, in true dedication, he made sure that my bride walked down the aisle to You and I, which was one of my favorite songs. And I will forever be indebted, because it was magical. It made our day. It really, really did. A lot of people kept saying, well, who's going to sing for Kenny Lattimore? Who's going to sing? Because he's usually singing at everybody's wedding. But
right.
Man, he was the only one that really could. He was the only person.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Evans.
Good time. Do you know that I went back? I was showing Faith that we had to go back and look at that, because I said that was a huge moment for Black nostalgia.
Oh, come
Michael
on,
Evans sang that to Thelma coming down the aisle. So
when Keith got hurt.
Right. How about that? Oh my gosh, we were sitting there going, how did that series end? Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I know I'm way off the subject, but okay. When the series ended, Walona got a job, right? So y'all can help. Walona got a job. It was beyond the boutique. Like, maybe she was a buyer. But how did they I don't remember how they got their house or whatever and they got out the ghetto. Because it felt like it was Gilligan's Island.
Right, because he had the contract as an athlete, but I think.
Oh, right. It came back. He got another football contract. That's what it was. Okay, he got the contract. Yeah,
because I was like, man, they ain't gonna never have no good times on this show.
Right. That's one of my favorite. I was like, oh my god.
Them things were setting them back. Let me see what else we got here, Kenny.
I love it. Say it again.
Thanks up for you.
You got
any of great R&B singers from back in the day inspire you or influence your sound in any way?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, the man I mentioned, Stevie Wonder. Shaka was another one. I listened to Shaka like crazy when I was coming up. Aretha. I could go a tremendous list. Donny Hathaway, Anita Baker. You can probably hear all of these people when I'm singing.
Yeah,
Jennifer Holliday. Okay.
Yeah.
People I know. Stephanie Mills. It wasn't as many. Phyllis Hyman. I listened to a lot more women than I did, because I'll tell you why. When I would sing, and Luther Vandross, huge, but I kind of was like Luther. If you ever heard Luther and Thelma was pregnant, I see they're still talking about good times. I love it. If you listen to Luther Vandross' interview, you'll hear something about how he listened to the women because it made him more distinct as a singer. Because other than that, when I sang Stevie, I kind of sounded like Stevie. If I sang Donnie, I kind of sounded like him. If I sang Marvin, I was imitating them. But then I started singing listening to the women. I'd harmonize with the women, and
Yeah.
it made my voice sound different. And I kind of found my own sound after a while.
And
Yeah.
shout out to Patti LaBelle. Today is her birthday.
Patty LaBelle.
Patti
Oh my
LaBelle.
goodness, Patty LaBelle. Yes, happy
Yeah.
birthday. Huge influence back from the LaBelle days. The emotion from "You Are My Friend"
Phew,
and
Lord,
"Can't Stand It." Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm thinking about the old stuff, but I used to always like "Wish I Was Your Child. I'd warm you with my wings, safe from all." Do you know that song? What is it?
Mhm.
She just, what I loved about singers like Patty and Shaka and Dionne Warwick, is that they could sing anything, and like their voices, they could blow the song out,
Yes.
or they could caress it. And when I would listen to her, "Wish I was your child, wish I was a bird," or whatever she was singing,
Yeah.
I love the diversity that they had, or the variety and flexibility rather in their
Yeah.
voices. And I always wanted to have that. So when you hear me singing like "Never Too Busy" and I go into that soft tone in my voice, it's because I studied their sound and would sing along with them so that I could do my own background vocals and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really need anybody else when I went in the studio.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people. I saw a lot of people ask.
Minnie Riperton, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Jeff Osborne, yes, that's my friend. That's my buddy too, Jeff Osborne. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What are you talking about? Oh,
somebody said Jeffrey Osborne. I'm like, yeah, that's my buddy too. Yeah.
Jeffrey, a good dude, man.
Thanks for the falsetto compliment, because you know, it's something that my mother had a great falsetto, so some things I inherited, but I know that I had to work at it. I took voice lessons at 12, and I had to keep working with my voice to try to touch each part of the voice that I could. But anyway, I want to hear what you had to say. I'm sorry.
I forgot what
comments.
Oh, I know what I was going to say, because I saw this going up the scroll a lot. People asking about a gospel album. Would you ever consider doing a gospel album, Kenny?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know that pretty much my Christmas album is a gospel album? If you want to go back in time with me, William Beckton's "Broken." This was a #1 Billboard album for 10 weeks.
Yeah, be encouraged.
The 95, yeah, be encouraged, because Clifton Jones did that song as a single. But I did the song called "Till the End," and one of the greatest moments. Okay, this is one of the greatest moments in my early career. Was I was on some kind of radio show up at in New York. I think it was like Hot 97 or something like that, and I was in a room rather with Mary J. Blige on a radio thing, and she looked over at me, and I'm nominated for this Grammy, so maybe it was 97 or something. I don't remember when it was, but "For You" was a hit, you know, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, stuff that had come out, "Never Too Busy" was a hit, but she looked at me and she said, "You're the guy that sang "Till the End" on William Beckton's "Broken."
Oh, wow.
And I said, what? But you know what I realized? She used one of the lines, and this is such a great compliment, on her album called "Share My World." It might have been on that song. Da, da, da. I think it was on "Share My World." I think she goes, da, 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 da. But that was the melody from "Till the End."
It sure was.
He'll never leave you, promise to stay always. He'll be by your side till the end. And I was singing that. Just because the sun don't shine, it doesn't mean that I'm not with you.
Boy.
And though you've prayed and nothing's changed, it doesn't mean that I'm not with you. You gotta hold on to his promise, 'cause he'll do what he said he would, yeah. Joy comes in the morning. He's working it out. He's working it out for your good, yeah. I was somewhere up there. I was singing so high back there that I don't know.
Man, that was my song, man, right there.
So great. It's so great.
Oh, man. Kenny, we got 2 minutes left.
I know. I got to go back in here and do some more stuff. But
So let's end by you singing a little bit of "For You." You know you got to hit
"For You." Oh, man.
We got to do that.
Well, I thank you guys so much for joining this conversation and
thanks to everybody
being with us. It's like just family getting together with you. Cayman always Thank you for your
Absolutely.
support. With you, Michelle, everybody at SiriusXM. I know I'm forgetting everybody's names and all that, but I appreciate you. And for you, I'd give a lifetime of stability. Anything you want of me, yeah. And nothing is impossible for you. There are no words or ways to show my love or all the thoughts I'm thinking of. 'Cause this life is no good alone. Since we've become one, I've made a change. And everything I do now makes sense. All the roads end and all I do is for you.
Perfect. Perfect. You got it in. You got it in. Now this thing about to cut us off. Thank you, Kenny. I love you, brother.
Blessings.
And thank you to
all.
everybody for joining us. Please follow at Cayman Kelly. I love everybody. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Faith, for allowing the time.
Yeah.